I thought it was manipulation. I thought that it showed, firstly, Harry absolutely desperate.
Prince William doubles down. According to multiple sources, it's now a matter of when, not if, he strips Prince Harry and Meghan Markle of their royal title.
Meghan Markle put out more and more content connected to her children.
Very aggressive PR for the Sussexes, got way beyond herself because she really doesn't understand the British royal family or Britain, but understands how to project her clients.
Did Meghan Markle use a surrogate? That's been something posited literally for well over 3 years when it comes to her firstborn son Archie and even her daughter Lilibet. And many people even wonder, are their children even real?
Breaking right now, the British royal family mired in one of its biggest crises in history.
So he is at a loss, and that brings us obviously to the Angola thing, which is really a stunt. It's a pathetic stunt. You've got to look at the way that Harry has actually been badly advised, because after he lost that case in London against the British government to get armed protection,
the royal family would not be coming to Harry's rescue. They would not be funding a divorce to any extent. And they, at this point, wouldn't really care what Meghan tried to say or do, because Meghan has so discredited herself as a liar, a cheat, and a fool.
He wanted his privacy. The problem you've got here in a relationship with Meghan and Harry is this is a boy that was pretty much traumatized by media presence when he was little. He didn't really want any of this publicity. He was always attacking photographers. She's someone, ever since she was on the red carpet, who's craved publicity. So this is a relationship based on one that wants to be out of the public light, doesn't want his children involved, and that's why we see keep them get the back of their heads. And one that's desperate to utilize that
and utilize the children.
Americans are furious, and not just a little irritated, truly furious. While people across the country were simply going about their daily lives, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were quietly putting a plan into motion. A plan that touches your country, your identity, and 2 children most Americans have barely even seen.
This was surrounded by controversy, largely to the unconventional decisions Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made regarding privacy, timing, and public communication. But the problem is that this ended up causing a lot more friction and a lot more issues that unfolded as the years went on. And now it's really hard for Harry and Meghan to get away from them without doing some sort of Hail Mary.
Today, royal author and investigative voice Tom Bower is stepping forward to reveal exactly what that plan looks like, why he believes it is already falling apart, and why so many Americans are speaking up loudly with the same reaction: we did not sign up for this. Stick with me, because by the end of this video you will clearly see what Harry and Meghan appear to be trying to build. You will hear why Tom Bower calls the strategy desperate and completely unrealistic, and why many Americans are pushing back hard. Let's start with something that should immediately make people raise an eyebrow. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have already secured website domains for their children, Archie and Lilibet. Yes, individual websites connected to kids who are still in primary school. Now, at first you might think, so what? Plenty of parents reserve a website name early. That alone does not seem unusual. But here is where things start to look different.
It's just going to be nasty like that. And Meghan's actually threatened that she's going to take out some sort of terrible thing if it does happen, that she won't allow that to happen. But we'll see what the fight is when it gets going. But they have pushed themselves so far. They have behaved so badly.
Most parents do not relocate to a reported $15 million mansion in Montecito, California, distance their children from British culture and royal life, and at the same time support the idea of those children using royal titles like Prince and Princess. Prince and Princess of what exactly? Because as Tom Bower explained very clearly when I spoke with him recently, these children are growing up in America. They are being raised far away from Britain, far from the royal institution, and far from the traditions those titles are historically tied to. And according to Bower, Meghan understands exactly how all of this plays out. Tom Bower, who has spent years digging into the Sussex story, told me very clearly that none of this is random. According to him, this is part of a careful, long-term strategy. something planned step by step behind the scenes. Bauer says Meghan has been writing diary-style emails to her children every single night, creating a digital record of their lives from her point of view. Just pause and think about that for a second. This is not simply a private journal a mother keeps for memories. What Bauer believes is that it looks more like an archive being built over time, material that could easily become future content, a book, a brand story, or even a platform built around two children who carry royal titles.
Even though, as I said before, like Harry and Meghan not following exact protocol kind of makes sense, you know? Harry and Meghan's children are unlikely to ever get anywhere close to becoming, first, second in the line of succession.
Two children raised in America, growing up far from the royal institution, yet still carrying the labels of prince and princess. And one day, they could potentially be presented as some kind of symbolic link between the British monarchy and American culture, almost like an American version of royalty. But when that idea came up during our conversation, the reaction from Americans online was immediate and loud. One comment alone pulled in more than 2,400 likes, and it said very plainly, nobody here views Harry's kids as American royalty. Nobody. So how did things even get to this point? How does a former actress from the show Suits and a prince, once known as the royal spare, end up in a situation that critics say looks like the start of an American-style royal brand?
Something has to be done to preserve the future of the monarchy because Harry and Andrew are both massive risks, and it's a risk that needs to be assessed very quickly here. And I think definitely there could be a route forwards where their titles are stripped, and I think that's the only way to go. And I think the future in some ways can only be secured if they go in that direction. And so this will be a very bold move. It'll be one that definitely damages his relationship with his brother. I don't think there's much of a relationship between William and Andrew, but I think Harry and Meghan should be shaking in their boots right now if they are not already. And they could have had the best of all worlds if they had played their cards right. But this was a route Harry and Meghan decided to go down where they trashed their family, and this is the result.
Tom Bauer says the answer goes back years, all the way to a moment in London at a restaurant called the Wolseley. In his best-selling book Revenge, Bauer describes a conversation that revealed Meghan's mindset very early on. She was sitting with her PR advisor when she mentioned she had a date coming up with Prince Harry. The advisor asked her carefully, "Do you know what you're letting yourself in for?" And Meghan reportedly responded with a line that caught attention immediately. She said, "I've Googled him, I've researched him, I know exactly what I am doing." According to Bauer, that moment showed something important. She understood the situation back then, and he believes she still knows exactly what she is doing now. She keeps changing directions. First it was American Riviera Orchard, then suddenly it became As Ever. Products are announced, items are labeled sold out, yet people can barely find them anywhere. It all looks flashy on the surface, but Tom Bauer says there is a deeper reason behind the confusion that many people completely missed. According to Bauer, the real issue is money. He claims Meghan has struggled to secure a serious financial backer for the brand. That, he says, is the story behind all the sudden changes and messy launches. So the problem is not just poor planning or bad PR.
Harry and mostly Meghan, it seems, are actually really obsessed with the titles. Meghan and Harry care a lot about those titles, and they say that they don't, but they clearly do. So what do you think about this whole thing? A lot of people think the birth certificate not having signatures and being changed, altered.
Bauer argues it is something much bigger. Major investors with real money simply are not stepping forward to fund the Sussex brand at a large scale. Because of that, what people are seeing now looks more like trial launches. Products appear in small batches, just enough to create buzz and headlines. The idea, Bauer suggests, could be to show traction and attract a wealthy investor who might jump in later. Take the famous jam launch, for example. A limited number of jars appeared, and many reportedly went out to friends and influencers. The rest quickly showed up as sold out. But as critics online pointed out, a few dozen jars disappearing is not exactly a full business operation. As Bauer described it, that looks less like a business empire and more like a presentation. almost like a pitch deck designed to impress potential investors. While Meghan promotes jam, flower sprinkles, and a growing lifestyle image, Bauer says Prince Harry appears to be facing a very different reality. He believes Harry is under enormous pressure. His father, King Charles, is dealing with serious health issues, and Harry understands what comes next in the royal line. When Charles is no longer on the throne, Prince William will become king. And according to Bauer, Harry knows something important about that future. William would hold the power to shape how easy or difficult Harry's life in Britain could become. That is why Bauer suggests certain moves lately have looked rushed.
I don't think she's going to let the king be trapped into an argument with Harry.
You're right about that, yeah.
And he'd have to fly to Balmoral to see the...
Absolutely.
But I think it isn't just the trust, you know. I mean, Harry has made a fortune, and still does, from Spare and the Netflix series.
Absolutely.
And he said such terrible things about William and Kate and Camilla. I mean, he didn't say... and there is another book there. There are another 400,000 words.
How many pages did he tell the Telegraph he removed from the original
400.
book because he
A
didn't...
few more.
So there's another book there with a lot of...
And Meghan told us she found her diary at Frogmore and she never signed an NDA.
I hear you, but I'm just, all I'm saying as a father, if you are going through what he's going through.
There were even reports of quiet meetings involving Sussex aides and palace communication staff, with photographers capturing the moment outside a private London members club. The images quickly landed across major headlines, especially in the Daily Mail. But Bauer had a sharp reaction to that moment. He called it confection manipulation, arguing it looked like a calculated PR play that did not land the way it was intended. Instead of showing confidence, many observers felt it revealed something else: urgency. Bauer also pointed to PR strategist Meredith Main, who he says helped coordinate the moment. In his view, she understands how to create headlines in Los Angeles media circles. But Britain, he argues, operates by a very different set of rules. She does not seem to realize that in London, leaks like that do not make someone look powerful. They make them look weak. What might work as a headline trick in Los Angeles can land very differently inside the world of British royal circles. Now the focus turns to the children, because this is where reactions from Americans are getting the loudest. Archie and Lilibet Mountbatten Windsor currently hold the titles of Prince and Princess. King Charles officially allowed those titles, and Harry and Meghan have clearly made sure those titles remain attached to their children, even while raising them thousands of miles away from the royal institution those titles traditionally represent. And that is exactly where many Americans say they feel confused, and in some cases frustrated, because the public has barely seen these children. Think about that for a moment.
We can see it already, I think, the struggles and the tensions between, how do they move forward digitally in these sorts of things? Because I feel like we're seeing a slow adoption of, let's say, some video and social media and these sorts of things. And so the monarchy is very much, I think, struggling to modernize in some way here more than some of its other counterparts.
Harry and Meghan often speak about wanting a quiet and private life for their family. Yet at the same time, website domains have reportedly been secured for each child. Discussions about their future public identity continue to appear in the media, and Meghan is said to be writing detailed nightly diary entries that document their lives. To some observers, that combination feels unusual. It sounds less like private family journaling and more like a carefully organized archive of their childhood story. Then there is another topic that keeps circulating inside royal watching communities on both sides of the Atlantic: questions surrounding the pregnancies. This is a sensitive subject because it involves children, and it is important to approach it carefully. However, the conversation does exist online, whether traditional media chooses to highlight it or not. Some commentators and royal watchers have pointed to what they believe are inconsistencies in timelines and public appearances during the pregnancies connected to Archie and Lilibet.
I do think the Sussex overdrive is unbelievable, but I don't think that he is going to get back in. I think that there are two reasons. One is I think that William wouldn't allow it. And secondly, the moment he got back to America, he immediately promoted Disney and his trip to Disney World, which showed that he is very commercially minded, which we'll get into later on, which
Yeah.
makes it impossible for him. And of course, Meghan wouldn't come back to Britain.
Members of Meghan's extended family have also publicly raised questions in the past. The reason this discussion keeps resurfacing is tied to the larger narrative critics are debating. If Harry and Meghan are presenting their family as a kind of modern royal story in America, a glamorous Montecito version of royal life, then questions about the family's story naturally become part of the wider public conversation. Because when you really break it down, the entire Sussex brand revolves around one central idea: the family itself. The story being presented is built around the children, the lifestyle, and the image of a modern, diverse American royal-style family. A family that stepped away from the traditional British establishment and chose a new life filled with freedom, sunshine, and California culture instead. According to Tom Bower, that narrative may already be taking shape in a very calculated way. He points out that Archie and Lilibet are growing up as the first cousins of Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. And when you look ahead into the future, Bower believes the comparisons are almost guaranteed. On one side, you have the children growing up inside the traditional royal system in Britain, George, Charlotte, and Louis in Windsor.
My understanding is that there are members of the family who are very aware of the fact that the marriage is problematic. I don't want to say more than that, I don't think. Has he been disloyal and bleated about her to anybody? I wouldn't have put it quite like that, but he does and also the family is not in close touch with him now. Even those members of the family who were closer to him are less in touch with him now than they used to be. And many of them will have nothing to do with him whatsoever.
On the other side, you have Archie and Lilibet being raised in Montecito, California. Two very different worlds, two very different stories. And according to Bower, the contrast almost writes itself. He believes Meghan may already be shaping that narrative behind the scenes. Those nightly diary emails are not just simple family memories in his view. Bower suggests they could easily become the early draft of a larger story, a story that one day might be told publicly by two young adults who grew up hearing that they carried royal titles and a unique place in a global spotlight. In that future version of events, the story might frame them as something new. A modern American version of royal identity standing alongside the traditional Windsor children. But many Americans online have reacted strongly against that idea. One comment that gathered more than 2,400 likes said it very directly: "No thank you. We fought a war, so we would never have to bow to a royal family. We are not about to start now." So where does that leave the royal family itself? Tom Bower says he has genuine concerns about how all of this could unfold over time. And when Bower expresses concern, people tend to listen. This is a writer who has spent decades investigating powerful figures and has authored more than 24 books examining the lives of the rich and influential. His biggest concern is this.
With Meghan Markle, but she remains a friend of Fergie. Certainly no friend of the British royal family, so she's a risk. But, when it comes to a 10 million advance for a book from someone who's already written more than one autobiography, she is going to have to spill the beans, Angela. And that's where the fear from the British royal family comes from.
Regardless of what Harry says publicly about the royal family today, the long-term story may still be unfolding in ways few people fully understand yet. Whether some of these claims turn out to be true or not, the bigger issue is this: once an idea enters the public conversation, some people will believe it. And according to Tom Bower, that creates a long-term vulnerability for the palace that is extremely difficult to control or respond to. Because the story may not be finished yet. There are already reports that more material could surface in the future. Remember, Harry himself revealed that hundreds of pages were removed from Spare before it was published. Around 400 pages that never made it into the final book. Those pages are still out there somewhere.
He preaches a lot about forgiveness. We heard him talk about open borders. Sometimes he's very kumbaya. And I wonder if he's trying to put his money where his mouth is by making peace with his son, because how can we take him seriously when he's meeting with Ukraine and Trump and trying to make peace as a global leader when he's not even at peace with his son?
Well, I think I disagree with you about that, because Charles, when he was the Prince of Wales, was absolutely unforgiving to anyone who said no to him. Oh. And in my book on the king, the rebel king, it's called, my best sources were people who'd worked for him, and he'd been absolutely ruthless when he fired them. Oh. He had absolutely no time for anyone who said no to him. So he's a man who hates confrontation.
Then there are Meghan's reported diary-style records, the Netflix projects, and whatever future documentaries, books, or interviews might come next. Bauer argues that Harry and Meghan have repeatedly shown they are willing to use their royal connections as part of their public storytelling. And in today's media world, those stories can easily become major global headlines. When I asked Bauer whether he believes Harry regrets any of it, his answer was blunt. He said he does not believe Harry feels remorse at all. In Bauer's view, Harry still believes he deserves an apology from King Charles and from Prince William over how he feels both he and Meghan were treated by the royal family. But when it comes to repairing that relationship, Bauer was very direct about one thing. A reconciliation with Prince William, he believes, is simply not likely. Too much has happened. The Spare memoir, the Netflix series, the Oprah interview, all of it created deep fractures inside the royal family.
It was a disastrous management of a ridiculous, trivial thing. And I don't think they know how to handle part 2 of Spare or Meghan's diaries, or what was going to happen, the American prince and princess, Lilibet and Archie, starting to cause trouble as well, and being in competition with William's children.
Bauer also argues that certain allegations made during those moments caused serious damage to the monarchy's reputation in several parts of the world. According to him, the fallout has been enormous. Bauer believes Prince William has moved past the point of forgiveness. Queen Camilla is unlikely to forget what has happened, and even King Charles, who some say has lingering feelings of responsibility from earlier years, faces strong pressure from advisors to keep a careful distance. And this brings us to Bauer's next move. Revenge may have been the book that started the conversation, but Bauer says the story is far from over. He has already hinted that another book could be on the way. Because as he explained, this entire saga did not suddenly end in 2022 when Revenge first hit shelves. The story did not slow down. It kept building piece by piece. And now the stakes feel bigger than ever, because according to Tom Bauer, what is really on the line here is not just Harry's personal frustrations or Meghan's latest lifestyle launch. The bigger issue, he argues, is the future image and stability of the House of Windsor itself. Right now, critics believe Harry and Meghan are working with a long-term vision for their children. A strategy that could position Archie and Lilibet as high-profile figures growing up in America while still connected to royal titles. In Bauer's view, that raises a larger cultural question. Could a kind of rival royal spotlight eventually grow around Montecito? But the reaction from many Americans online has been very clear and very loud. A lot of people say the same thing. America does not have royalty, and it does not want one. No amount of jam launches, flower sprinkles, streaming deals, or carefully documented family stories is likely to change how many people see that idea. Tom Bauer has shared his perspective. The debate continues to grow, and one thing is certain: this story is not ending anytime soon. If you found this breakdown interesting, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who follows the royal drama. And I want to hear your thoughts too. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think about this entire situation. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.